People are strange. Something strange.
Is that strange?
That is strange.
That is strange.
Wow, that is strange. This is strange.
And welcome back to another episode of Strange Sonaflex. There is so much crazy stuff going on in the world today. Virginia Giuffre, Jeffrey Epstein, client list. The main freaking witness. She gets hit by a bus. She has days to live, reportedly. We'll kind of dive into that. But then there's also some new discoveries of the CIA document. It's kind of circulating. It's been around for a while, but it's circulating that Hitler survived and lived in Colombia all these years. What do you know? Oh, yeah. Crazy stories about Baba Vanga, her prophecies coming true, and brain implants helping stroke victims speak again with AI. It's a crazy time, dude.
It is a crazy time.
It's a crazy time. What do you think about it?
Oh, boy, where to start? Well, same shit, different day, I guess, you know, as it is with everything. I was just saying to Greg, like, the last few days, I just took a break from all this. Yeah. Came on, like, today to look up stuff just to catch up. And I'm like, man, it's just... Like I said, you can't keep up with this stuff, but I think that's done on purpose.
Oh yeah,
it's too well. Hey, it's great for us because it gives us topics,
right? Right.
But it's very overwhelming, and yeah, you know, maybe if we have time, we'll talk about the demise of Canada.
Okay, man.
Because we have an election coming up, April 28th, and I may have to take off my glasses and look down the barrel and be very serious about some stuff here.
Dango, son. All right, yeah. I know Canada. Yeah. Canada's prime minister, he's out of there. So you guys are getting...
Not really, but kind of, yeah.
Right. Hey, it happens all over the place. I mean, you think like all these leaders, finally we're getting rid of this tyrant, but then another tyrant takes this place. And...
So we have Trudeau, and I call him a turd. So we got rid of the turd, but now we have to get rid of the skid mark, which is Mark Carney. So that's the joke. You know?
Okay. Okay, so the
we got
residual.
rid of the turd, now we have to get rid of the skid mark.
Exactly.
Mark Carty.
It still stinks.
You know, he's not a benchmark to society, he's a skid mark to society. But anyways, we're screwed. So that's all right. Nothing new there.
Okay. Well, hey, at the end of the show, let's dive into it because I want to know what's going on in Canada today.
Yeah, it's getting pretty bad.
It is crazy.
The division is just all I have to say quickly about it is I used to think the human race was special, and it was, what's the word I'm looking for? Top echelon. You know, like we are, what's the word I'm looking for? Sorry, Greg. I brain farting here.
Like the we're kind of like smarter than what we think we should
yeah, like
be.
the human race is superior.
Yeah, like the top predator, you know what I mean?
We are not. Mm-hmm. Don't fool yourselves. If we can be fooled like we are over and over again, and history repeats itself, and I'm talking history of the last 5 years, and you're still falling for this shit, we're not superior.
Yeah. Easily
Sorry,
duped.
folks. Yeah, and I'm looking at it like animals aren't easily duped. Like animals aren't divided. They've got, they conquer and divide, they eat, they do their shit, but man, we're stupid.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, hey,
we really are.
And some would say there's a story going around that you might be stupid to believe this one. And this is the Virginia Giuffre getting hit by a school bus. Okay?
And I thought she got hit, like hit, but she was apparently in a car. So
right, yeah. So she was in a car. She posted this link or something. This was on IG or something. And everybody's doing this math here. We'll have to kind of hide us out of the way because we're looking at the here. Wait, where are you? Okay, there we go. Yeah, we're looking at the post that Virginia Giuffre posted, and this just came out of the blue, right? Because we haven't heard from Virginia Giuffre for a while, and she writes this. Apparently, this looks like it's on Instagram. And she says, this year has been the worst start of the new year, but I won't bore anyone with the details, but I think it's important to note that when a school bus driver comes at you driving 110 kilometers, as we were slowing for the turn, that no matter what your car is made out of, might as well be a tin can. I've gone into kidney renal failure. They've given me 4 days to live. Transferring me to a specialist hospital in urology. I'm ready to go. Just not until I see my babies one last time. But you know what they say about wishes. Shit in one hand and wish in the other. And I guarantee it's just going to be shit at the end of the day. Dang, she's feeling negative. Thank you for all.
Bit, eh?
Yeah, thank you for being wonderful people in the world. And blah, 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 blah. God bless you. Right. So she just posts this, she takes the time, days to live, renal failure. She's in the hospital. Is that the first thing that comes to your mind? Like, that's what you do, is you want to go to social media instantly and say, hey, guys, just got hit by a bus, 4 days to live. Like,
and write a post like that.
Right.
Where it's kind of like she's kind of all over the place. And, well, straight up, I think it's BS. I'm just calling it. And she's had many of her court cases dropped. Like she's already, to me, just a plant, maybe. I don't know. God knows right now, Greg. Like, I just don't get it. Like, if I'm, first of all, 110 kilometers is 70 miles per hour. So I don't know why she said, is she Canadian? Because did she get hit in Canada? Because
good question.
Like, she said 110 kilometers, which is 70 miles per hour.
Right. Not in the US.
And
well, she's Australian, right? Or wasn't she Australia? Right.
Oh, yes. So if she's in Australia, then they do kilometers. Okay, my bad. I take that back. Whatever. But I'm looking at it like, when I see stuff like this, I think it's either like a Kevin Spacey type deal where they want to get rid of, the evidence. They want to get rid of witnesses. But she's had, and just before the show started, folks, we were looking it up, and she's had some of her stuff with Alan Dershowitz and a couple other accusations dropped, where she said she may have made a mistake. And I'm like, what do you mean you made him? Either the guy diddled you or didn't. Like,
right.
So I'm not sure if it's them trying to get rid of her. There's no court case coming up. It's not like she's a Diddy witness or something. So I'm like, it's just sort of out of the blue.
Right.
Almost like the bus hitting her is out of the blue. Same with the story. So
yeah. And it's like, it's one of those things where you can look at this from a couple different angles here, right? So the first angle is on the nose, someone's trying to take her out, right? She is a key witness. She tried to take down a powerful lawyer, Alan Dershowitz, who happens to be on the Trump team as well. So it's like, come on, Trump, what are you doing? And then, you're looking at several people that she accused. Bill Clinton. So you have the Clintons in there, right?
There's a photo of her, isn't there? Like,
absolutely.
Massaging Clinton in the airport.
Yep.
And a photo of her with Andrew, whatever his name is.
Yeah, Prince Andrew, right?
Thank you. Sorry.
This guy right here. And Ghislaine Maxwell,
Oh, that's just,
But,
she shows up.
It is just a photo, so we don't know, but she's definitely been around that scene, supposedly, right? And so, like, that's what your first instinct is, whoa, they're trying to kill a key witness. And it's like, well, like, she's already said she made a mistake, right? Like, with the Alan Dershowitz thing. She even said right here, I now recognize that I may have made a mistake in identifying Mr. Dershowitz in her statement. Right? She sued.
How do you do that?
Well, because Giuffre sued.
Was the room that dark and she didn't realize it was in this
wrinkly
old Jew all over her?
How do you not recognize this face? I mean,
come on.
So she said that she sued Dershowitz in 2019, alleging he defamed her when he denied her claims and suggested that she and her lawyers were trying to extort money from others. Now, so like that is definitely another angle that you can look at, because if you look at how much money she's made off of these lawsuits, she settled a lawsuit in 2009. She was then known as Virginia Roberts. She settled a lawsuit against Jeffrey Epstein for $500,000 in 2009. Okay, it's not like insignificant. It's not like that much back then, but like it's quite a bit back then. 2009.
It'd probably be worth $750 now, maybe $800,000.
Yeah, right.
With inflation or whatever, it's still not a lot of money compared to the scope of what happened, you know?
Exactly, dude. Yeah. So here I asked Grok, and here's where Grok is pulling some sources here. Here I'll pull you up here. So this says that Giuffre, let's see, stemming from her claims, in 2009, Giuffre was blah blah blah. She settled for $500,000. This settlement was part of a confidential agreement that was unsealed in January of 2022, stemming from her claims as Jane Doe number 102 against Epstein for sexual abuse when she was a minor. Additionally, in February 2022, Giuffre reached an out-of-court settlement with Prince Andrew, whom she accused of sexually assaulting her when she was 17. The exact amount of the settlement remains undisclosed, but is widely reported to be a substantial sum, with estimates ranging between 12 million euros to 16 million euros. So that's approximately 16 to 21 million US dollars, right?
Yeah, that's the money.
That is some frickin' dough, right? Part of this settlement included a significant donation to Giuffre's charity for victims' rights. And, you know, charities can be,
Yeah,
they can be good, they can be bad, right?
They're just a front.
Yeah, and the remainder covering compensation and legal fees. The settlement was finalized in March 2022. The case was dismissed by a federal U.S. judge. It was dismissed. So she got her money. She got a lot of money. And
that's life-changing money.
That's supposedly. We don't really know, right? We don't know, but it's reported. So if you're getting that much money and, you know, you did them a dirty, right? You're taking money and you're bringing this stuff out and you're trying to defame people like Alan Dershowitz and all this stuff. You're basically just hearsay. You don't have any proof, right? About the Alan Dershowitz stuff, at least.
Yeah, there's no photos or anything.
So that's another thing is like, was she a part of this whole Epstein operation? This was a twist that I kind of threw in the show on Pardon My American. We were talking about this, right? This is just a twist. Was she part of the trafficking operation? Okay. And she turned on him. She turned on Epstein, all these people. And she goes, I know what you guys did because I was part of it. I'm not going to say that I was. I'm going to say that you trafficked me. And then I'm going to sue you. And I'm going to say everything that you guys did because you know that I know. And, you know, you're going to have to pay up. And they all they can do is just deny it, right? They can't say, well, she was part of it, because then it just proves her right. So it's like you kind of screw them into a corner.
So why not hit her with a bus sooner before they gave her the money?
Exactly. And
Sorry, I shouldn't laugh, but I'm going to laugh. You listen, at this point, I would agree with you, Greg. I never thought of it that way. But
your point it's valid. They would hit her with a bus sooner. Yeah.
But yeah, I just kind of look at it being like the post was weird. The timing of it anyways, what she wrote, how she looks in it. I mean, that could just be makeup or something. Like her hair is just over, like, it's just like for someone who got hit by a bus, like I expect to have a neck brace on you or something. And I kind of agree that maybe she kind of was maybe part of it, because Epstein did have some of these younger females play a role to bring people in. They recruited people.
Yes.
So maybe, yes, something did happen
Rachel Chandler,
to her,
that kind of stuff.
And then she's like convinced or forced to be part of it. I get it. But she's just had some of those lawsuits dropped. She's received money. She's disappeared for a while. Like her name hasn't come up at all.
Right.
With the Epstein stuff. And I think the Epstein stuff, like we said, nothing's coming from that. I can go to bed and rest my head comfortably on the pillow and sleep at night because I know nothing's coming from it. There was a time where I was like really jacked and like, okay, this is good. This
jacked
is what's going to happen. Well, yeah, just like, yeah, you know.
Okay.
No, I kind of go to bed at night going like, this is just all a play. And it really is just giving us topics and information and entertainment to talk about, because nothing's going to be done about it.
Right. Well, I mean, not only that, but like her memory seems to be very, very bad because she made the mistake about Alan Dershowitz.
Wait, is this before or after getting hit with a bus?
Well, both. Now she's saying that she may have made a mistake when she said she only had 4 days to live. Apparently, this is a headline here, right?
What? Go back? Is that for real?
Yeah. Virginia Giuffre made a mistake when she said she has 4 days to live.
Man, it's the same line they had when she said she made a mistake, maybe saying Alan did something. So this is getting a little suspicious. Like,
right. You know what I mean?
Is she being threatened? I don't know. I mean, like we were just saying before we started off camera,
right?
That this is very reminiscent of Kevin Spacey, whose accusers all died or committed suicide or disappeared, and
they got hit by a car and all that stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
So
shot himself twice in the head with a shotgun from behind.
Yeah, or something like that. So she was in rural Western Australia. She got hit by a school bus and she was in a car. And I don't think that there were any reports. So we looked this up on Pardon My American. There were no reports of a school bus, right? Because that would be all over the news. Like, especially if there were children on it. You know, especially I'm assuming there was no.
That's a good point.
And so she made this post on Instagram and, you know, she's basically saying like, I have days to live, blah, 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 blah. Now, like, this is one thing that we noticed, too, is she is loaded up with jewelry. She still has her earrings on. She has this necklace on and she has this EKG sticker. You could tell like they had her hooked up, like maybe in the ambulance when they were taking her. You know, they put those things on your chest so that way can they monitor your heart rate. But my thing is like if you get into a car accident and they don't know what's going on, like you remove the jewelry because you never know if like you're going to have to do like those.
Well, she would be in a hospital gown.
Right.
Not in her bra.
Right. And she's clearly in a bed. She's in a medical bed. You can see like the apparatus.
And that photo doesn't look real. Like the makeup and the bruising, like it just, it doesn't look real. It's just whatever.
Exactly. And so it's like, is it fake? Because there's no reports. There's no public reports of this school bus happening. She just comes out of the blue. It looks like she just put on some makeup, laid down in this like medical bed. However, but now they're saying that like she may have made a mistake, right? Western Australian police said that they received a report of a minor crash between the school bus and a car in near Gabby, about 12 miles north of Perth. The collision was reported by the bus driver the following day. So that is another thing that's strange. Is like, why wait another day to report this? Right? Because there were no reported injuries as a result of the crash. It was a minor crash.
So when he was sitting at the dinner table and his wife and kids are like, hey, hon, how was your day? Well, I got in a car accident with the bus, but I'm going to report it tomorrow. Like, you're supposed to report that right away. I'm pretty sure any accident with a bus, there'd have to be the police there. You'd have to call.
Yeah.
You'd have to call. And
right here, Professor Simon Davies, a trustee of Kidney Research UK and former emeritus professor of nephrology. So this guy's, he knows his shit as far as kidney failures go. He goes, it is possible to sustain fatal kidney damage after an accident such as a car crash, but it would have to be a very severe injury. You're talking about major trauma, which involves a lot of tissue damage. You definitely can have a kidney injury from a car wreck, but it would likely be a serious injury, likely in intensive care. That means like you're passed out. You're like, oh, you know what I mean? Like a very serious car crash.
You wouldn't have the energy or the whereabouts to take your phone and take the right picture, show enough bruising, and post.
And look at this. He says you would not be in a strong position to be having conversations at that point. A victim in those circumstances would be in the risk of swift death. Right? So if your kidney stopped working, you're done. Right? You would die without treatment in a matter of days. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I just look at that photo and I'm kind of like,
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, she's got
like
the EKG
I literally just watched a Netflix special about a woman faking cancer.
Okay.
And she would go into the hospital complaining about like stomach pain or something. But when she was in there and nobody was around, she would take photos and make it look. She'd put like a bandana on her head, and she'd put the IV drip near her. So she was doing all that. So again, if this photo is her in the hospital for something else, but she's just like, this is my moment to. I mean, I just literally watched the show about how easy it was to fake it, And then eventually she actually had a hospital bed at her house and all this medical supplies. So she had a little studio at her house taking videos and photos of her not being in the hospital.
Yeah, that's a great point, dude.
This looks like the same thing. Like, she's not in a gown. She's not in intensive care. And to have that much damage to your kidneys, soft tissue damage, and the kidneys are on your lower back. So I don't know how she got hit, but I'm pretty sure this she'd be in a neck brace of something.
Well, not only that, but you wouldn't sit there and post on Instagram. If you're thinking like you have days, maybe hours to live because of this, I don't know, man. Screams that she's lying. And she doesn't have legal custody of her children. That's what we kind of looked at last time on Pardon My American. Is like her husband was an attorney. In a March 22nd post, she wrote about how she missed her children, suggesting that they have been poisoned with lies. So it's like, I don't know what kind of relationship she has with her children, but usually the children go with the mother. If you have a divorce, it has to be pretty serious. Like, the mom has to be in pretty significant bad shape for the children not to go with the mom, right? I don't know how Australia is.
That's just how the system is, Interesting that the kids are being fed lies. So does the husband, not believe that she was abused and part of this Epstein thing? Or is he... Because that would be upsetting if your better half was like, you're part of your trauma and PTSD is like, yeah, I was trafficked.
Right.
And then you're like, I don't believe you. So like, what would the lies be about?
Yeah, dude, honestly, I don't know. And that's the thing is like, maybe
she sounds like a fibber. She just sounds like a fibber.
And that's, that fits in with Alan Dershowitz. He's saying, hey, she's lying to extort money.
So I used to live in Australia, so this would be the term. Oh, mate, I'm daubing on you for telling a lie. So daubing means telling. So she's been daubing about lies, and she got caught.
She's been daubing and bobbing. You know what I mean?
Daubing, so yeah, she's been daubing and lying about something. She's been telling something that even her own family is like, we got to keep our distance from her. Because she did say in that post that she'd like to see her kids one last time. And I'm like, well, why can't you see your kids?
Right. Just call them up.
I didn't realize I didn't realize the kids were with the dad. So.
Right. And so that makes a lot more sense. And in one thing that I'm thinking of is, if she's lying about this, if she's faking this, could she trying to be like faking her own death? Could she be trying to fake her own death? Right. Because it's all of a sudden just out of nowhere. And, maybe she got this hint of, hey, people are coming after you because this Epstein stuff's really going to start hitting. And a lot of the stuff that you went to court about, they're going to want to reopen it. So either if you don't want to be a part of this anymore, you're going to have to get rid of yourself. Right.
Yeah.
And so I did look up on Grok here.
But would you make a post? Would you make a post that long and that weird? That he's like,
well, I mean, you gotta initiate the process somehow. So, I would
have a friend or a family member do it and be like, she's in rough shape. And if the husband's smart, he should get back together with her. She's got like at least $15-16 million. Come on, brah.
But maybe that's part of it, though. Maybe that's why she doesn't have custody of the children, because she has to fake her own death. Maybe, right? I'm just throwing it out there. But I asked Grok, can you fake your own death in the witness protection program? And they said that faking your own death isn't something you typically would do. And it isn't like something that the program might orchestrate for you if necessary. But they said it is something that the program might orchestrate for you if necessary. And it says, in rare high stakes cases, faking a death could be a part of the plan. Think organized crime witness or people testifying against dangerous cartels. someone whose enemies need to believe that you're gone for good. So there's no public data on how this happens, and it's called WITSEC. So that's the program, and they keep tight-lipped on these types of things. But it's plausible that they would that they would plant a death certificate, a news story, or even a funeral to sell the
That's
story.
what I mean. Like someone else would plant the story,
Right.
not her saying, "Hey, I may have 4 days, maybe 5 to live," and then come out and say, "Oh, I might have made a mistake." It's very weird. And if she is trying to plan her own death to get out, she didn't really think that through, because it's like, you may have 4 or 5 days. It's like, no, that means they still have a chance to get to you if they know what hospital you're at, because you're still alive.
Right. And I like how Grok's like thinking that I'm curious about testing the idea here. Curious about the logistics, or are you just testing the idea?
Yeah.
No, I'm just looking for answers here, bro. So yeah, I don't know. It's one of those things where, like, she said that she had days to live. Now she made a mistake, just like she made a mistake back with Alan Dershowitz. She made a lot of money.
Yeah, I was very specific with the 4 days. If she just said, I'm badly injured, I'm intensive care, or someone had wrote that post in her honor, I guess, or in place of her. But for her to say, it's been a shitty year, don't get me started.
Right.
Life's like a bowl of box of chocolates, whatever the fuck she said, I don't know. But it's just kind of like, bro, like
shit in one hand, wish in the other.
Like, sis, like, you could have done it a little bit better by not being so divulgent in how much time you have left.
Right. And even like the bus driver, I guess, is now disputing the collision claims, blown out of proportion. That's in a quote here. So the school bus driver who allegedly hit Virginia Giuffre said that the mom completely exaggerated, that she suggested the accident nearly killed her.
Maybe she wants more money. Maybe this is something that she does. Is she just she cons people.
Yeah. Ross Munns, the bus driver involved in what the Australian police dubbed a minor collision, said that she blew it out of proportion. So yeah,
well, not if she has 4 days to live, Gregory.
Yeah, well, I'm just wondering, like, is she running out of dough? Is she running out of money? Maybe she didn't make millions.
Where did that money go, if she even got that money? I don't know. Anyways, I give that that's right, folks.
Yeah, thumbs down. Rainy day, bro. Holy crap! You just got poured on.
Don't believe it. All right. What else you got for us there, Gregory? Because that was BS.
Yeah. So I want to look at this story about Hitler surviving World War II and living in Colombia, right? Because it's like this resurfaced document. I guess it's been out for a while. It's this HVCA 2592, and it is a CIA document that suggests that, yeah, Hitler was alive. And this supposedly was a picture that was taken from him, or taken of him. And, people are like, it could have been anybody with a Hitler stash, and it could just be shadows. I mean, this is a shitty photo I'm looking at, right? So, the previously released classified document from 1954 is making the rounds again on the internet after it's released years ago. The document claims that Adolf Hitler survived World War II and was living in South America. The document was the CIA's response to the allegations that Hitler was living in Colombia and had been for several years. And then you have the document here, and it kind of goes through, a synopsis at the beginning, like obviously a newer version. And then you have the original document from 1963. And yeah, you have like this photo that was introduced. But essentially, you have this acting chief of the station, Caracas, released a document where he alleged that a trusted friend delivered information that a former SS trooper stated to him casually that Adolf Hitler was alive and living in Colombia. And it had to do with like this guy. And here, I'll try to find the actual part of the document. But this German SS trooper. So this is just a claim from him. And here it is. We could look at the document. I don't know. Can you see that all right?
Yep.
All right, there we go. We'll make it a lot bigger. So he's saying that. Well, actually, let me zoom that a little bit. On September 29th, 1955, Camelody 3 reported the following. Neither Calamity 3 or this station, blah, 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 blah. He was contacted on the 29th of September, 1955, by a trusted friend who served under his command in Europe and who is presently residing in Maracaibo. Camelody 3 preferred not to reveal the identity of his friend. His friend stated that during the latter part of 1955 in September, a Philip Citroen. This was the former German SS trooper. So this Citroen guy is the name of the SS trooper. Stated to him confidentially that Adolf Hitler is still alive. Citroen claimed to have contacted Hitler about once a month in Colombia on his trip from Maracaibo to that country as an employee of the KNSM, the Royal Dutch Shipping Company in Maracaibo. Citroen indicated to Calamity 3's friend that he took a picture with Hitler not too long ago, but did not show the photograph. Right?
Took a selfie. What?
What up, bros? With
What's up,
Hitler.
We got some mustache in the house. Yo.
He also stated that Hitler left Colombia for Argentina around January 1955. Citroen commented that in as much as 10 years had passed since the end of World War II, the Allies could no longer prosecute Hitler as a criminal of war. Now, there's a lot of this that is very it's speculation, bro, because it's like a word of a friend and a friend, and like, hey, yeah, I got a picture of him, and that picture that we showed was supposedly it.
But we do know that a majority of the top Jewish, sorry, wrong person, German, were the Germans were moved to Antarctic, to Argentina, to the United States.
Right, Project Paperclip, all that stuff. Right? Project
Paperclip. We know because we've seen sometimes they'll find them and and arrest them on a war crime and be like they've been hiding here along. So yeah, I don't think Hitler ever died there. I think he was able to get out. Mm-hmm. For sure.
The theory is that there was a tunnel. And then it led to either an airspace or like some sort of, he could just get on a boat. But if you think about when the war ended, it was what, 1954?
I think so.
So I'm not sure.
Or did it? Because you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it ended, but then they snuck everybody out and brought them all here and continued what they wanted to do. So I heard, like, in the video that I sent you, they break it down to
it ended in 1945. So wait a second.
45.
So this guy said that in 1955 he saw him. So he'd been there for 10 years?
10 years, yeah.
Damn. Okay. Wow. All righty.
Yeah. And there was many submarines taken, airplanes. The skull that they found was a female skull, because like, I know we laugh all the time when I say half of Hollywood is males being females, but it's because of the skull. It's because of the skull. Like you can tell, you can't deny that. So that's what the video that I sent you talks about. It just sort of breaks it down, being like, yeah, they shuffled them out of there as part of Operation Paperclip. Like a few other people, a majority of those guys went to work for NASA.
Okay.
So
here I actually I think I found. Okay. Yeah.
I think they said he lived until the early 1960s.
Okay. So let's check this out. Oops. Actually, I think I have this on. I have it right here. So let's open this up here. It'll be about 2 minutes.
Full screen.
So. There we go.
Yeah, it's a good video.
All right, here we go.
People know this story and who have studied the subject know that Adolf Hitler didn't kill himself in a bunker in Berlin as the Red Army closed in. I think that's, We all know that was a fabricated story, or if you watch the show, you probably understand that. Hitler actually fled Germany weeks before that using a group of underground tunnels that led to an airstrip. And that airstrip was flown. He was flown from Berlin out. It took submarines, or multiple submarines that were used, U-boats that were then sent to Argentina. In other words, Hitler lived for nearly 2 decades more in Argentina, along with vast numbers of the Third Reich. Well, now Argentinian President Javier Milei has just ordered the release of all remaining documents on all of those Nazis who fled Germany and moved to Argentina after World War II. Basically, it was almost like a second base of operations in Argentina. If you're not familiar with that, like basically the Third Reich operated out of Argentina and Germany. And many of them, including Adolf Hitler, lived in Argentina well after 1945. Most people know that Hitler lived out his days in Bariloche, Argentina, until he died there in the mid-1960s. Yes, you can read the CIA documents about this. The FBI documents also about sightings of Hitler in this area. They knew about it. Of course they knew about it. It was largely facilitated, I think it's safe to say, by the United States and its allies. Operation Paperclip, anybody? Quid pro quo?
Also, if you look into this, the skull that is held in Russia that was supposedly the remains of Adolf Hitler with a bullet wound in it is female.
Yeah.
So when you look for proof that Hitler did, in fact, kill himself in the bunker, you are going to find a lot of dead ends.
Yeah. And all you need to read, you can read a great book on this called The Gray Wolf. It's a great book. There's many books written about this now. But yeah, the skull, the fragments, they ran the DNA tests on it. And the Soviets allowed them to do this testing. And even Stalin openly talked about that Hitler lived. He was not there. So Stalin even knew about it. It's widely known in Argentina, by the way, well known, that Hitler sired 2 children while he lived in Argentina.
Whoa. Crash landing. Yeah. He sired children. And there's rumors that Angela Merkel was one of them. Remember that shit?
Yep.
There was like this
And
Q post, right?
Barbara Bush's dad is who's he? Splitting image of
Aleister Crowley.
that was Crowley, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they believe and they follow bloodlines, and you can see
Right.
it. Like they all say they are related down the road. And listen, Adam and Eve, if you believe in that, we all come from, we're all related. Somehow down the road we are, but not in that time frame, that generation, which is like within one generation.
Mm-hmm.
I could be related to Greg 5, 6, 8 generations from now, but they're all related within 1 or 2 generations.
Well, and it's interesting because like there was like this. I looked up like Angela Merkel because I remember like what there was like this tie between Angela Merkel and Hitler. And I remember there was a magazine cover of the Queen of England doing the Nazi salute when she was a little child, right? So even the Queen of England was kind of, her family at least supported the Nazis back in the day.
Yep.
And I remember looking at this. This is the that Q post that talks about Angela Dorothea Kasner. And if you look that name up, that is Angela Merkel. And it's talking about daughter of a pastor, name of father's the history of the father, Hitler Youth member, haircut today, then symbolic. Who is Angela Hitler? And then it's like suggesting like look at the family tree, relationship to Adolf, how many children named in Germany during this period, first, middle, bow, family tree, bow, right? So wouldn't it be crazy as shit if like Hitler's children were actually like running countries and stuff still? You know what I mean? I wouldn't be shocked.
I think they are. I just did the Joe Biden whisper. I think they are.
That's the problem, Bob.
Yeah. I think they are. Like we were saying, they're all connected. They're all connected.
Yeah.
Within one generation of it. So it's not like you have to go back and go, well, in the 1400s. No, you just go back 1800s, early 1900s, and you're like, oh, they're connected. And Hitler, was part of the, the whole, what do you call it, Operation Paperclip to get him out of there with other people from his army.
Yeah.
And then they ended up a majority ended up working in the United States.
Dude,
Then you
NASA.
had Henry
Werner von Braun.
Yeah, you had Henry Ford suing the U.S. government because they ended the war, and Henry Ford's like, I lost money because the U.S. was building tanks for Germany as well. Like,
Right.
it
Yeah.
hasn't changed. You go in, and the same government that destroys and starts the war, it's the same government does the rebuild. So they're making money on both sides. And if you still can't see that, then not much I can say about
Dude, I
you
get it.
anymore.
I get it. There was this other story here. I'm going to try to switch to it. The twins from Brazil, and it talks about, like, I can't get rid of this ad at the frickin' top. So, did the Nazi doctor Mengele, the angel of death, cause twin surge in South American town? And it talks about how there's this town in South America where there's just a plume of twins, like twins, blah, 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 but they're all blue-eyed and blonde-haired, which, like, South America, you're like, what?
Ago. Yeah.
And so it says a notorious Nazi doctor known as the Angel of Death is behind the alarming number of twins born in the small Brazilian town, a historian has claimed. Joseph Mengele was the SS physician at Auschwitz concentration camp, where in a bid to create a master race for Adolf Hitler, he carried out genetic experiments to find the key to producing twins. And this claim was to artificially increase the area. The aim was to artificially increase the Aryan birth rate. In 1945, he fled the advancing Red Army and made his way to South America. It is here that the medic who is believed to have been responsible for up to 400,000 deaths in his medical experiments at Auschwitz may have succeeded in his mission. Baffled scientists have been struggling to come up with a reason for the high proportion of twins in this tiny Brazilian town of Candido Godoy, most of them blonde-haired and blue-eyed. A staggering 1 in 5 pregnancies there have resulted in the birth of twins. The usual rate is 1 in 80. 1 in 5, bro.
Yeah, that's a significant change.
Yeah, Argentine historian George Camarasa has now come up with an astonishing theory in his new book, Mengele, the Angel of Death in South America. He has pieced together the Nazi doctor's later years after his flight in the face of the Red Army advance, right? And here's a picture of all those twins, dude. Look at this. These are all twins. And they're all like blonde and, I mean, not all of them, but damn, bro.
Majority of them, yeah.
And this article is super old. I mean, this article is from what, 2009? So this picture was 2006. Residents of the Brazilian town claimed that Mengele made repeated visits there in the early 1960s. So you have like claims from the residents in this town. He first claimed to be a vet, but then offered medical treatment to women, providing them with strange potions and tablets and asking for blood samples.
What?
Right? And then after spending time in Argentina and Paraguay, in 1963, Mengele started making regular trips to the predominantly German farming community in Brazil. And that's when the birth rate of twins began to spiral.
Interesting.
Right? So he's trying to build the... here's Joseph Mengele in 1977. He drowned in a swimming accident 2 years later. He lived in Brazil for 18 years.
Huh.
So I'm just saying, dude, like, what are the odds that you have like the Nazis go to South America and then all of a sudden you have blue-eyed, blonde-haired babies popping up?
They were just repopulating, starting their next army. Good-looking army.
But hey, this goes into your clone theory. Why would you want to make a twin? You got to have a clone, bro.
Yeah.
So that's what they were trying to do. Body doubles. They were trying to just make body doubles.
And the technology and some of the stuff that the Germans were doing and the experiments really just, and they might have ended when the war ended there, but they just brought them over to Antarctic, Argentina, United States, and continued with some of it. A lot of them worked for the FBI and CIA, and NASA. And I'm like, it doesn't surprise me. They needed work. Their boss was apparently dead and the war was over. So they're like, hire me and I'll switch sides.
Yeah, but it like brings in this whole concept because like the first clone, supposedly human clone, was Clonade, the Raelians,
which is up in Canada.
Yep, the Canadian Raelian movement. But that's what we're told, right? That's just on paper. We know that like China's been doing cloning for a long time. Dolly the sheep, that was like the introduction to cloning, but like I think that they've been doing this experiment stuff since the Nazis.
They have been, and I think that's why we did a whole episode on that, on the cloning, and we were bringing up like congressional whatever called meetings where they're like talking about it. And I'm like, if it's not true, then why are you talking about it and banning cloning or banning information on it? It's just like they're doing it. And I think what's happening now is they need you to follow suit. So I think Eminem has been replaced either by a body double or a clone. Taylor Swift, like they all don't look the same anymore. They don't. You can see it in their eyes. You can see it, their ears, everything. Things are changing. And it's like, do you do it because it's easier to control the clone? Do you have the clone ready to go or the body double ready to go if an accident happens? Like Paul McCartney died in 1966. His head got chopped off. They run these lookalike contests to find. So they're smart in always having a backup plan. But if you don't go along with the agenda, maybe a star is like, I'm not doing this anymore, or you're not going to compromise me. And they're like, well, they make us too much money, so we're going to get rid of them and replace them with a body double or a clone. Yeah, it keeps the business running, and now you're in control of that clone.
Yeah, and you
can
know,
implant
it always
what
like,
you want in them.
It always makes me think of the movie The Island with Jude Law and Scarlett Johansson.
That's such a good movie. I love that movie before I was awake because I watched it. I watched it a few months ago. It was on TV, and I was really like, man, they're actually telling us. Like now I understand. This is how they fucking do it because they have very rich people that want to live forever.
Right.
So they grow another one of you, and they take your kidney if you have kidney failure because you got hit by a bus at 110 kilometers an hour. Right.
The island is essentially just an island full of people's clones, and then they organ transfer, organ harvest. Yeah. They freaking take out an eyeball if they need an eyeball. It's crazy.
And they
movie.
brainwash everybody inside this building that the outside is not safe and it's dangerous.
Right.
Sort of like how the world was flat and you fall off at the end of the world. They didn't want you to explore it because if you did, you'd bump into the Arctic Circle or whatever. You'd find out that it's not as it is. So in that movie, they brainwash all the cloned people.
Right.
That it's not safe to go out.
Yep.
So even they're getting brainwashed. They're brainwashing the clones so they don't leave so they can use them. So intelligent these people are. They're
hey.
We're not going to win this. These guys are centuries ahead of us. Like we can expose shit, but you just got to go along with the ride and just be like, oh well, I mean, I wouldn't mind my own little clone to do my work and I can vacation, but can't have two of me.
Maybe someday you'll have an AI clone or something because they're getting pretty damn close. Here was another article here that was pretty insane. So brain implants, we're getting there again. Brain implant helps this woman with paralysis speak with her own voice again. Now, this woman had a massive stroke back in 2005, and they hooked up this brain-computer interface. Here, I'll show you a picture of it. And it allows her to use AI to pretty much instantaneously decode her thoughts. And before you had this, you had like Stephen Hawking type stuff where it would be very slow. He'd have to sit there and type it in. The next level would just be like 10 words. Stephen Hawking would use this computer voice thing, but the system would limited to 10 to 15 words per minute. More advanced brain computer interfaces significantly improved the speed, but they still had this like lag, right? Now this one, it was, Yeah, unlike previous models, which waited for Anne to complete a full thought before translating it, this system continuously decodes speech while simultaneously vocalizing it. For Anne, this means that she can now speak for herself in her own voice, her own sentences within like a second of thinking about it, right? And we have this video demonstration that shows like the clinical trials. So I was just going to open this up and we can watch it here. Should be interesting. Oh, hold on a second. I got to watch this on YouTube.
Most people have no clue that in 2024, the best way to...
Here, we'll wait until the ad stops, but then
Silly ads.
gotta love them, dude. Gotta love them. All right, here we go. Clinical trial. Participant is severely paralyzed, cannot speak. Voice speech is decoded and synthesized with her brain within 80 microsecond increments as she tries to read it here. So this is her. You have this connector brain recording device and the target settings.
You look me there and so change you to it.
Still kind of wobbly, you know?
Where did you get this? Is that thing I am too?
So you can tell it's a little choppy, but I'm going to take us off this screen so you can see this thing that's protruding out of her head. I mean,
Yeah, she's blurred out, but she's got like something like plugged into her head. It's like a box and then a wire coming from it. And it's like the back of her head on the right side.
it's like a 2015 phone charger, everybody. This thing is massive. Okay, this thing is like you wouldn't want to just plug this in and walk down the street. People,
No.
You'd trip on that shit, right? So it's pretty interesting. Obviously there's some, errors here and there with it, but damn, dude, like that, if you could actually speak with your own voice, and because I think that, I don't know how they got her own voice. I don't know if that's true, but if you think about us, if we're on this podcast, they could take, a numerous amount, just like Joe Rogan, you'd take like a voice sample and you'd synthesize it. It'd be like, okay, I want to make Greg's voice. Okay, well, here's Greg's voice. I have pretty much every inflection that I've ever done, like for the past 5,
I could
7
do that
years.
now. I'm about to start using a program called 11 Lab, and 11 Lab can do that. I can clone your voice and clone anybody's voice, put inflections in it, and like I think with AI, it's a catch-22 because it's
Right.
like this could change a lot. Like literally today, I was on Instagram and a good friend of mine, he's actually on the wall right here on my wall.
Mm-hmm.
His mom just had a massive stroke yesterday.
Oh, yesterday.
So yeah, so she is in hospital and they have to see within a week how bad it really is. But like now her life has changed. She could be
Right.
paralyzed, can't speak. And would I say no to this technology? Hell no, if it was my own family member or friend.
Right.
But it's how they're going to slide that in with everything else. It's kind of like, that's the catch-22 is like,
Right.
if you can not have dementia or Parkinson's again, or you could cure cancer. Let's say this new AI vaccine that Trump's talking about can really cure cancer.
Yeah, the mRNA.
Like, who would say no to that?
Well,
You
and
know what I mean?
that's how you get them in there.
I lost my mom. I lost my mom to cancer. I lost my dad last summer to dementia and Parkinson's.
Mhm.
And like, can you imagine if that could change because of the AI technology? But at the same time, Elon says he wants like a whole army of robots army by 2027. So
Yeah, dude.
it's kind of like you're sneaking the bad shit in with the good shit, right?
Well, and it's like cyber hacking, like if all this cybersecurity thing and we have all these threats of cyber attacks and all that stuff, like can't your brain be cyber attacked? Like, that's the problem.
Yeah.
Is, you know, like, it's still a computer program.
It definitely can. You know, definitely can if they can. That's why it needs to be. Well, see, then if I say it needs to be governed, but look who's doing it, the government, because they haven't governed the internet. That's the problem. There's no laws in place.
Yeah.
Like Section 320, which I keep hearing about, is just like that. That's what's ruined us the last 5 years. You know,
Well,
8
it
years.
depends, because the more regulation you have, the tighter it's going to be. But when you're talking about people's thoughts and people's, you know, communications, because if somebody's connected to your brain, they can tell what you want. They can tell what you desire. They can tell what you hate, right?
And they can tell you what to do.
Yes. And if you are an advertiser, because there's been stories about advertisers targeting people's dreams. Let me see this. But like, if you are in the business of making money, you want to convince people to go buy stuff or to go do stuff that will allow you to make money. Like, you could just influence their brain, right?
Yeah. And now they're having a hard time because a lot of Hollywood, which in the sports and music, they use those influencers to convince you to buy something. But because that world is crashing quite a bit, they need to convince you another way. So how do they do it? Just directly, somehow through your brain, 5G technology, for sure. While you're sleeping.
Yeah, check this out. Scientists warned that marketers are trying to inject ads into dreams. Should advertisers be allowed to hack your dreams? So this is from 4 years ago. A trio of researchers at Harvard, MIT, and University of Montreal published an essay on dream hacking in Aeon, warning that according to a recent survey, 77% of marketers plan to use dream tech advertising in the next 3 years. And this was more than 3 years ago. So multiple marketing studies are openly testing new ways to alter and drive purchasing behavior through sleep and dream hacking, the team writes. The commercial for-profit use of dream incubation, the presentation of stimuli before or during sleep to affect dream content, is rapidly becoming a reality. So they can hack your dreams, dude. So of particular concern, they wrote, was an ad campaign by Muslim Coors for this year's Super Bowl, which promised free beer in exchange for participation in dream incubation studies. Free beer.
We'll give you free beer, and we're going to go up and mess up your head. And you'll never know we messed up your head. Yeah. This is why I said we're not superior anymore. That's for sure. Beer? All right.
Right. But it's
French fries and hamburgers. If you go take I remember the governor or the mayor of New York City. Saying, this is delicious.
You're telling me there's a burger element to that, or a French fry element to that?
Yeah. So
wow.
like how would they do that then? Would they have some kind of ad play subliminally on your phone, or you're watching Netflix or something, and when you watch it, because sometimes they say, like, you know, we have a nightmare, what did you watch? Like, I love the Incredible Hulk back in the day when I was a kid, and I have nightmares that the Incredible Hulk was chasing me because it's the last thing I saw, right? So is that how they would do it? Subliminally through messaging?
I don't know. I'd have to look more into it. But targeted dream incubation, TDI, is a protocol to induce specific dreams when you sleep. And
like, do you wear that watch when you sleep?
No.
Like, because people wear their eye watch. They wear the Whoop. They wear the Whoop.
Right.
They wear the Oura ring. And I used to have a Whoop. I do have an Apple Watch that I wear only when I take a walk and train, but I'm going to start getting rid of it. I've just been reading about the frequencies and the stuff that comes off of it. But again, if that's on you while you're sleeping, and they can hack that technology, because they say you shouldn't even charge your phone next to you. Like my phone charges across the room from me. Like it's way away from my head. So I'm just wondering how they would get into your head.
So let's
maybe
see.
Through whoops and Oura rings.
So here, there are many ways this technology can be used for good, blah, 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 but there's also these businesses that are exploiting dream and brain science. So Burger King, the fast food chain, produced the Nightmare Burger for Halloween that had a unique combination of proteins and cheese and meat designed to disrupt people's REM sleep, which would then induce nightmares. This was clinically proven in a trial. Did you freaking know about this? Burger King had a nightmare burger that had a unique combination of proteins that made you have nightmares. I've never heard about that.
Yeah, I mean, that goes along with the whole KFC video, that commercial that came out where they're telling people ahead of time, like, we make it out of humans.
Right. Yeah.
And I actually watched a video saying that they legally can't call it Kentucky Fried Chicken anymore because it's not chicken. I thought they didn't want to call it Kentucky Fried Chicken because of the word fried, but it's kind of like, you've been serving us human meat and stuff. So I mean, if you're gonna whatever you're putting in that burger to give me nightmares, and I don't mean stomach nightmares, like I'm bloated, I'm gassy, I have to go to the washroom. Like,
dude,
that
I'm
could
gonna
just
open
be.
this up. This says clinically proven trial. 100 people were given, wait a sec. 100 people over 10 nights, where those who ate the Nightmare Burger were 3.5 times more likely to experience nightmares. This is all in Spanish, so I guess I won't be looking at that. But
Yeah.
But hold on there. So Xbox, for the Made from Dreams campaign, Xbox asked gamers to play their Xbox Series X console using TDI, recorded and analyzed their lucid dreams after playing. They then created visual and audio content based on recreating these dreams. So you have to go in for the study, and I guess they like try to mess with you during these studies.
What's a TDI? Do you know what that is, Greg?
So that's this whole
targeted dream.
Yeah,
okay.
Targeted dream incubation, something like that.
Sorry.
Right?
Okay. I just realized that after I said it.
And then PlayStation, to advertise their new game Tetris Effect, PlayStation used a TDI study that showed those who played Tetris during the day for an extended period of time saw the same visuals as they were falling asleep or when they were asleep. Now I could see that. That's not really.
I can see that. What do you call it when you have a song that just keeps playing over and over in your head?
Oh,
What's
right.
that called? A ringworm? Not a ringworm. Worm?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know if it's anything worm, is it?
There's a name for it.
An earworm?
Earworm.
Okay.
That's happened to me quite a lot, where I'll be listening to a song earlier in the day, and all of a sudden it's just playing in my head, and I actually can't sleep. So
Yeah.
I can see how, if visually you're stimulated with something with the video games, for sure, or if you watch, why'd your son have a nightmare, and Greg's like, well, we stayed up and we watched Texas Chainsaw. Well, there you go. It's the last visual stimuli that he had.
Well, if you think about it,
did that.
Like if you have your phone next to your bed, like you said, or if you have like an Alexa app in your whatever in your house or next to your bed, and all of a sudden during the middle of your slumber, if you have this, like, because I think Apple Intelligence, if you have that on in your phone, it can tell when you're asleep or whatnot, or if you're wearing your iWatch, it can tell when you're asleep.
Yeah.
It will maybe ping something to your watch, or like play an ad or play some piece of audio that would make something happen in your brain and make you think about something. The Nightmare Burger was freaking insane, dude. I've never heard about that.
No.
They modified the cheese and the meat proteins to make people have nightmares. Think about what you could do with everything. Like, think about that.
They've already modified the meat and the cheese. They're not using real cheese and meat. They haven't in years. So now I'm wondering, what do they really switch it with?
Yes.
Ay.
So I'm just saying, dude, this is a crazy place. I think that's all I had for today.
Yeah.
So yeah, dude, like it's pretty freaking nuts. If you want to like go off on Canada for a minute or two, or whatever you want to do.
I'm just going to go quickly and just explain what's going on in Canada. And as you know, we have Trudeau. Trudeau stepped down.
Yep.
And he's been in, the Liberals have been in power for 9 years. So the Liberals would be our versions of the Democrats. But it's been horrible policies, horrible governing, horrible scandals, like to the point that our parliament is still not in session because after the summer break, they were like, we need to discuss this criminal act that Trudeau and the Liberals did. And the RCMP, which is our version of the FBI, were like, we're going to investigate. What did the Liberals do? They didn't show up. They closed Parliament.
Great.
And then in January, Trudeau comes out and says, I'm going to resign once we find a leader. I'm going to prorogue Parliament. So we haven't had a Parliament since September. So that's like you guys not having a Congress for 7 or 8 months.
Right.
So we didn't have an election to vote Carney in. So how it works in Canada is we've got 4, 5, 6 parties. You vote for the party, and whatever party gets the most seats, that's your candidate as prime minister, or in your case, a president. So it's not like you guys can vote Trump or Kamala and then the down ballots. That doesn't work here. We have a party system, which doesn't work because Trudeau won the election in 2021, and there's actual evidence of interference from China in both elections. And the RCMP wants to look into that as well. So none of this has been looked at. So we're in worse shape than you guys because you guys have had or have Trump, and we're still waiting to see what he's going to do.
Right.
We don't have that. So Carney was voted in by 125,000 Liberals. So we have 41 million Canadians. So that's 0.00345% of the population voted for this guy to come in. He can't be in Parliament because he wasn't voted in by the people. So he can't even go and sit in Parliament. He has to sit up top and watch what's going on.
Okay.
If we had Parliament. But the long story short is that this guy's worse than Trudeau. He's a WF globalist. I just want people, and maybe I'll clip this and put it out there, and I'll probably have friends of mine disown me, but I'm like, please do your fucking research. Do I trust our conservative government? Probably not. But the last 9 years, here we go. Trump wasn't born in Canada. Trump is not Canadian. Trump is doing what's best for his country. So why are we making the election about Trump? So what the Liberals need to do right now is they're using this war with Trump to get the boomers, people, I'm almost 50, so my age or more, to fight against Trump. So this election is against Trump. So they've divided Canada now to the young folks like yourself or my friend Dexter who can't afford a house. Immigration's gone through the ceiling. Crime's gone through the ceiling. Healthcare's collapsed. Our debt went from 600 billion to 1.3 trillion to where we are now. And it's like the Liberals haven't changed. It's just one person that stepped away. It's the same fucking party.
Yeah.
And I'm telling people the last 9 years haven't been better. So maybe you vote them out and then you bring in Polyev, where, you know, he's conservative. But what's happened in Canada is if you think conservative, you think you're a Trump supporter. But Polyev doesn't like Trump. So we're in this world right now of, well, you can't be conservative because it's Trump. But it says here, liberals got us into this mess, not Trump, not the conservatives, not China, not Ontario, not BC, not Quebec. The Liberals have given us a 69-cent dollar. They have given us a broken healthcare system, 4 million refugees without a plan, legalized hard drugs, and the basically cash and release, you know, bail, like the same thing you have.
So who wrote
cash
that?
And release.
That was
this is just someone that I follow. He follows politics, and he's just like, let's look at what the Liberals have done. You know, so it's kind of like, because they're trying to blame this all on Trump, like the tariff stuff. And I'm like, Trump didn't do any of that. The Liberals did. And now they want another term. The election is not about the US. It's not about Trump. It's about Canada. It's about change. It's about looking at what they've done the last 9 years, because we've all complained about it, and be like, hey, do your research on Carney. And when you do your research, and it's not that hard to find stuff on him because he's very open about what he says. He's written articles and books. He tanked the government in England. He was Trudeau's financial advisor for the last 5 years. So please, Canadians and the US, stop fighting. This elbows up shit is dumb as I can. It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Where now we're all against Americans and we're going to actually boo the national anthem. And like, this is just division. Like, you guys still haven't learned. This is textbook 101. Liberals came in and they're making our election about Trump. So really the battle's between old guys like me who have a house almost paid off or paid off. I'm almost 50. Or the young dudes like Greg. Greg, you're 40 now?
Yep.
39? So you're in the other demographic where 40-year-olds can't afford homes in Canada. And it's like the Liberals did that. And before the Liberals, the Conservatives were in, things got bad then too. So it's kind of like it's the same. They're just the same group of people. But stop with this division. Stop blaming it on Trump. Trump is trying to tank the stock market. Every time he talks tariffs, the stock market tanks.
Right.
So how do you get to a new digital dollar? You tank it. Or he's trying to prove that the stock market is not real and fluctuates.
Yeah, or it's just the companies are doing it to make Trump look bad. There's that avenue as well. But
or you're making people rich because people short their stocks. They know it's going to come and they're going to make money. It's a game, folks, that we know about it. We're not part of it, but we are when we just keep fighting. Like, the corruption in every government is very, very simple. They lie, they cheat, they steal. We know that, but they're so smart because they just divide everybody. So this division now is Trump, 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 and all the liberal people are like, elbows up. We're going to boycott U.S. companies. Really? Netflix is U.S. Amazon, Tim Hortons are coffee shops owned by the U.S. Nike, the car that you're driving, probably. Like, how are you boycotting this shit? You're like Trump has to do what's best for your country.
Right. And it's almost like, liberals or the left kind of burning down Teslas. It's like, well, don't you want electric vehicles? Weren't you all for electric vehicles? Now you're burning them?
But we're better than that. We're better,
I think Elon's paying people to do that, but hey, that's just me. But we're better than that. Like, if you got approached, it's just like, I just was like, today I saw some friends of mine posting their support for Carney, and I'm like, oh my God, like, please do your research. And you know what? We deserve what we get. And you can't leave Canada, by the way, because they have an exit tax. And the exit tax is going to be between 28 or 30%. So I literally, if I have my own company, like if it was a big company, Canada will actually charge you a tax to leave our country. Damn.
So we're fucked.
Okay.
That's my rant.
Yeah, that's you're in a pretty penny up there. It's not good.
And our elections are end of April. And our polls are showing that as soon as Carney came in and is taking on Trump, by the way, he's never talked to Trump. He's never had a meeting.
Right.
Instead of talking to Trump, he went over to England to have a seminar or talk about some. So he hasn't discussed with Trump. Trump came out yesterday with this big board to explain all the tariffs and everything. Did you notice Canada's not on there?
I didn't see.
Because they're still in negotiations with stuff. And it has to do with our border and the fentanyl as well. But people don't want to look into it.
Yeah, and Trump really wants Canada to be the 51st state. So he won't shut up about that. So that probably doesn't help.
I think we should be, in the sense of economically, have the same dollar. We have our own sovereignty, but with our economics, we are in line with the states. Like, our dollar is just shit right now, but I get paid in US dollars. So I'm like, woohoo, okay, great. Like, like, my friend works for my main employer is United States. The money I'm making from the United States because we don't have that here in Canada. Our GDP growth in the last 10 years has been less than 1.5%. It's the lowest. US is like 38%. Australia is even like 15 or 18%. We're like, they actually said it was 0.5%, but they recalculated and it's like 1.3% of GDP growth in 9 years.
Yeah, that's pretty low.
Liberals. That's not Trump. That's not conservative. That's not NDP, which is our other. That's liberals. That's the government we have now.
Yeah, I always think that it's two wings of the same bird, right? So it doesn't really matter who you get in, but if it's not working in one party, you might as well try the other party, but chances look slim. You know what I mean? I just don't know if the other party is really going to come in and make a dent, but it's worth trying.
He has said all the right things.
Right.
Polier, common sense. They want to get rid of this carbon tax that's killing us, you know. And even Carney sat there like Trump did and pretended to sign some document to stop the carbon tax. He can't, because in Canada we don't have executive orders. You have to go through Parliament, which is prorogued right now.
Right.
So what was he signing? Nothing.
Yeah.
You can't do it. And then he's going to bring in the carbon tax as a shadow tax. He said we're going to do it as a shadow tax and go after industrial companies like steel and that. So it won't be so consumer based. Yes, it is. You need steel to, you know, buy cars and homes.
Yeah.
People are just like, I can't. I just can't.
Well, hey, God
That's my
bless
rant.
Canada. We'll see what happens.
It was 11 minutes. I'm sorry, but
Hey,
I
it's all
have a
good,
lot
man.
of Canadian friends. I have a lot of Canadian friends that watch the show now, and I've never been able to really explain myself like that. Saying, like, Greg and I are on the same page. Like, it's selected, not elected. But please do your research, and it's not like conspiratorial. Like, it's like you can find this stuff. It's coming out of their own mouths.
Right.
Hey, we're going to call it a shadow tax, and you know, and the polls have made it look like he's in the lead now. So the Liberals, as soon as Carney came in, went up like this. But when you see Carney talking, he's got 50 to 100 people. When you see Poilievre, you see 5,000 people.
Gotcha.
And our media is bought by the Liberal government. They pay them $600 million a year. So we're in the same situation.
All right, man. Well, yeah, we'll keep an eye on it. We got a couple weeks to, you know, figure out the kinks and whatnot. But hey, you know,
So I don't know if I can leave because there is a tax to leave.
Right.
But I don't really have a business, you know.
Yeah.
But
Well,
you
you're
guys
making
are gonna
better
get
money. You're making,
Yeah,
making
you guys
better
have
money.
to get your shit together in order too. So
yeah.
you just don't believe everything you see and do your research. Just understand. When you understand the system, you sleep so much better at night. And
That's
I do.
true.
Maybe not tonight because I'm razzed up now, but understand the system we're in, the matrix, the system, whatever it is. If you understand it and really open your eyes, and that means even Trump, and go, hey, these people are in it for themselves, then you will sleep better at night because you realize I got to make some changes.
Amen.
And whatever that is, amen to that.
Yep, let's do it. Anyway, hey, good show, Flex. I enjoyed the end rant there, and hopefully everybody else enjoyed it too. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode. If you did, hit that like button, hit the subscribe. Also, leave a comment over on any audio platform that you're leaving or that you're listening to. So, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, you name it. So just leave a comment, leave a review over there. Really helps out the show.
And we read all the comments.
We do.
We right back. I give thumbs up to everything. Greg will get in there and thank people. Sometimes put people in their place too. Hey man, did you actually watch the show? Did you actually watch the show?
Hey, I'll be nice.
I love that.
I'll be nice.
All
right,
we're
guys.
always polite.
Well, Flex, until next time, you guys stay safe out there in Canada, and everybody else stay steamy, all righty?
Elbows up.